Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom, serving in some of the harshest situations to secure that freedom across the globe. This is the Lounge with Legends show, celebrating their transformation from battlefield to business. The Lounge with Legends show with Marty the Moac Martinez and James A. Phelps, a.k.a. Spartan 6.
We're live. What's going on? You quiet?
I was waiting for you to catch me. I thought you might catch me, but you didn't this time.
Oh, no. I saw Nick Phelps. Is he here?
He's here. Hey, Nick, Marty's the reason why you don't have your hat yet. It's a long story, but we're getting your hat mailed to you.
Okay. You can't put that on me. I don't even know what we're talking about, and you're already blaming me. I don't like that. James Phelps just pulled out the M9 blame thrower and just started using that on me. He qualified expert at Bragg, by the way, when he was a second lieutenant. M9 blame thrower. But so, all right, Nick, always here. Love it. What's been going on? What happened last week? We'll see. So much.
Man, it's been a crazy. Well, first off, I noticed that you're back at back in DC. So congratulations on being back home. But the rumor has it that you're leaving out on the road again. Is that true?
I am. I leave this week. We're going down, doing a lot of traveling. Be back. Not gone too long, but we'll be back. I'm not going to put out the exact day. I'm trying to keep OPSEC. Thanks a lot, James.
Sorry, you're not going to be in Raleigh, are you? Oh,
but no. Well, yeah, we're gonna do some traveling out and about for a little bit. Let the kids see the grandparents and stuff. So it'll be good. But I'm hoping to be in Raleigh for a couple of days. Link up with you and some other Bunker Lab cohort members, because at least we'll do that. So that'll be good.
Wait, I gotta do my pose.
Oh, there it is. That's right. Because if you guys aren't tracking, James Phelps is the new kid on the block. 22 Bravo Raleigh Bunker Labs.
That's
so
right.
yeah, so good for him. He's in the group, and he he said the funniest thing. I didn't realize he was a comedian, but he said that he was going to make Bunker Labs Raleigh even better than Bunker Labs DC, and that's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
That was just a challenge to Gary Odom. That was nothing else. There was nothing else personal. It was just strictly to Gary. I wanted to make sure that he understood what was about to happen, because we're gonna, we may or may not have a guide-on mission where we try to capture the guide-on from the DC folks up there. You've been warned.
All right.
Hey, I just got back from DC.
Shout out to that's right. You were in DC. What did you do? I didn't get to go.
Awesome. We were there for the 50th anniversary of the Watergate situation that happened. So we were there, able to spend. David Vardaman was there with us, and we were able to spend a lot of time with, dealing with those folks and explaining exactly what had happened during that time, and just getting their perspective on things. It's always great to get someone's perspective that's lived through it and had that actual experience, that firsthand knowledge. And not only that, I came back to an amazing Father's Day. And did I show you my Father's Day card?
A couple of times, but show everyone else.
I gotta show it again. I gotta make sure everyone sees this card. Nick, have you seen my Father's Day card that my daughter's got me here?
I gotta talk.
Hey, you know what they say?
Once you go brown, you'll never frown. Something like that.
No, I was gonna say once a legend, always a legend. But anyway, go ahead. Enough about us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got the Bunker Labs up because today, our legend, I'm excited to bring him on. I met Wesley in Bunker Labs, 22 Alpha, Washington, D.C. Amazing. And he actually had formed a bond with 21 Bravo, D.C., with one of the Harrison there. And so it's amazing once you get into this ecosystem, how it just starts to just grow. And it's one of the best ones out there. If you're a veteran entrepreneur, I highly recommend you check out Bunker Labs. They meet you where you're at. But today we're going to talk about crypto, blockchain, NFTs, and all the other stuff that he's talking about. I say stuff, it's stuff. But honestly, every time we talk, I learn something. Kind of hurts my head sometimes, but I learned something. So I'm ready. Do you have any questions going into this, James?
No, I'm just gonna, it's amazing. I was hoping he was going to say he was in the Army, but I know he's in the Marine Corps. Just messing with you. But anyway, it's going to be an amazing episode. I'm ready to learn. This is some stuff that I'm trying to catch up on.
Yeah, especially because right now with everything you're hearing about crypto and all this stuff, how timely is it that we have a subject matter expert in like, let's bring him on. You ready?
Let's go.
I don't know why every single
Hey.
Welcome, brother. I'm glad you're here. I'm excited for this. That we've been looking forward to this one since we scheduled you like in February, I think it was.
Absolutely.
Soon after we started our cohort, we scheduled this one. So welcome and thanks for being our legend this week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Before we start, I got to apologize that you were there with Marty during that Bunker Labs cohort. I apologize to folks that were in that cohort, and I appreciate your patience.
Now, as I was saying, every time we spoke with you, well, you and Justin, man, you guys just go off and Justin will be on next week, so you'll see what I'm talking about next week.
I'm looking forward to that.
You guys start talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, they talk faster than I do, and I talk pretty fast. So, but it's great because you're so excited about what you do, and so real quick, do you want to tell us what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I founded a company called Konjo Tech last year. We do everything from individual strategy plans
for investing, crypto for business. So if you want to accept cryptocurrency, NFTs, if you'd like to create those, mint them, sell them, do whatever with them, crypto mining. And then I do a lot of other custom projects as well. So I have a lot of different, I guess, specializations is the best way to describe it. But then I'm also certified in quite a few different areas. So in development, in like I can audit a project, so I can take a look at something and say, like, is this a scam or not? Which is actually really the biggest issue in the industry today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, so here's what's interesting. You're talking about all this, but your humble beginnings began in the Marine Corps. What did you do in the Marines? Because was it anywhere in line with this?
Yeah. So when I joined the Marines, my original MOS was 0651, which is a data network specialist technician. So we did everything from Cisco CCNA to repairing computers, setting up networks, tearing them down, maintaining all kinds of stuff. So, you know, before I turned 21, I think I was in charge of a couple $100 million of equipment, and, you know, running servers and all these different kinds of things that were being used, you know, to our forward deployed Marines in Afghanistan and other places around the world. So it was like, it's called the defense messaging system.
Right.
And I think this was kind of before I really understood like the more business applications and how everything worked. You know, I was in charge of everything and I could fix it all, but I didn't really understand like the actual use case of what was actually being used, because everything was encrypted, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started. And then I opted and applied for the embassy program. So I protected the embassies and consulates around the world for the next 3 years. So I was stationed in Ethiopia, Austria, spent a month in or 2 months in Slovakia, and then my last year was in China. So I think in 3 years I was either stationed or touched, I think, like 18 countries or something like that. So yeah, I like really saw and experienced a lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages, a lot of different food and music and all kinds of stuff, and made a lot of friends, and just got a very really, honestly, like, I think traveling is the best education. So just a massive education overhaul from an international perspective and a diplomatic perspective as well.
Right. No, absolutely. So what led you to the Marines? Was that your first choice after you couldn't make it in the Army?
Yeah. So I was looking at different services. I looked at the Army, looked at the Air Force, and then the Marines. And my dad was actually working as a civilian contractor for the Marines. And I also remember that was part of the reason. The other reason was I had this idea that I wanted to be the best computer person around. And I was like, well, if I go to the Army, like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. If I go to the Air Force, you know, I'd probably be stuck in like a bunker or something, or like on a plane, or I don't really know. But like, I wanted to do something really cool and like have some respect behind it. So I was like, well, I'm going to join the Marines and do that. So that's what I did.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I'm really glad I did. I'd do it all over again. And yeah, that kind of set me up for what I'm doing now. I had to take a couple different pivots before this career.
Yeah.
You know, I worked as a civilian contractor for DoD, doing networks and fixing things and servers and all kinds of stuff. And then I did the software engineering immersive program through General Assembly. So it was a full stack developer full-time program for 3 months. So I learned how to code. I already knew how to code, but this is a more, you know, building complete web applications from 0 to 100.
Gotcha.
So from there, I learned obviously that, but then my stretch goal was to learn how to do mobile applications. So I did that as well for my final project. And then I went on and worked at a startup, and then we released an iOS and Android application, full stack. So that was, just I learned a lot of code, and I learned like how to take things apart and putting them back together. And really the thing at General Assembly is like they teach you how to learn anything.
Right.
It's not just code. And so I can take a look at something and take it apart, put it back together, or just learn something very quickly. And that skill has really, I think, taught me, it's enabled me to learn crypto, Bitcoin, blockchain, NFTs, anything in the industry very quickly,
Right.
Absorb the information, and then like pass a certification test about it. And then also to be able to experience it. And I have honestly been searching for an industry like this for quite a while that has actually challenged me the entire time that I've been in it. Yeah, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm going to stay here too.
That's awesome. Now, I like the word that you use. As you said, as you went around, you did pivots. And a lot of times when we get out of the military, we look at, well, I found a bunch of jobs, it just didn't work out. But you specifically chose the word pivot because each one, it sounds like you were maneuvering your way through and you were learning at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a huge takeaway for veterans that are in the transformation stage, because we get out and we think we're going to make all this money or we're going to do all this stuff, and we get out and we're like, it's not quite like the way I thought it was going to be. So it's good to know that pretty much everybody goes through these pivots and transitions and transformations. And so, how many years did it take you to find out what I guess is your sweet spot?
So, I did 6 years active and then 2 years reserve. So I finished my, total active service in 2016.
Yeah.
And then I started doing, crypto and blockchain really full time last year. So it really took me a good 6 years to find something, working multiple jobs. I mean, to be honest, I was actually homeless for a little bit. It's another story. I don't really want to go into it today, but
Okay.
I'm actually really glad that I had that experience because it taught me what not to do.
Yeah.
But also, it also like taught me how to appreciate life a lot more as well,
Right.
and living with less.
Now, I think it's a lesson we learn in the military but we don't appreciate. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, OIF 1, we went from April of 03 to August of 03 before we had an actual shower, and it was baby wipes all through then. That was the initial invasion I wrote. And so something as simple as a shower, you're like, oh my gosh, but then you've learned a lesson, but you really fully appreciate some of these things. I don't know. It depends where you're at in life, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
or just hot water.
hot water or water that's too damn hot because
Right.
we put it on the roof and it's friggin' 1,000,000 degrees there. So your shower is actually like liquid hot magma. But
Right.
So what led you to, because it sounds like you had some pretty good careers with some good companies. What made you say, you know what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? That's a big leap.
One of the things is I don't have a college degree. I've tried a couple times and it's just really not for me. I've actually always had kind of a business entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay.
The problem is that I didn't have any formal training. So I've tried a lot of different businesses over the years. I have made some money, not enough to like sustain a lot until now. So, yeah, I kept trying different things until I found something that I really liked and that I was actually interested in. And then I was just like, I'm going to do this full time and see what happens. And that's kind of how I did it. So yeah, I mean, I worked for the government. okay, I guess. I hated
Yeah.
working in skiffs and doing the top
Mhm.
secret stuff you can't really talk about, which I guess is kind of cool, but um, I like talking with people, interacting with people,
Yeah.
going outside and stuff. And I've been able to go to shoot. I don't have it listed down here, but I think I've been to like 6 crypto conferences over the last 6 months,
Yeah.
which is something that like I did not think I would be able to do and afford to be able to do on my own, but
Mhm.
I somehow made it happen. And
Right.
now, like the most recent conference that I went to, I recognized like 6 or 8 different people because I saw them at a previous conference. And like that's how small the industry is.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. That's how it was at Podfest. There's how many podcasters, but still the ones that go to the conferences and you see on the calls, it was really unique. I walked in, they're like, "Hey, there's the MOAC." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I just walked into the Orlando. So we were taking pictures and doing all sorts of stuff. But you find your tribe, and you start running with it, which is pretty cool. Let me ask this, because I know this is on people's minds: is everything going on with crypto right now? What's the big scary thing, or what's the thing to avoid right now? I guess was people are looking at what's going on with the Bitcoin and everything.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if you guys heard about like the Luna Terra stablecoin situation, but
Yeah, we finished saying it, and James already saying no. No, I haven't.
Basically, there was a massive project. I think it was like a top 10 or top 20 coin, so we're talking billions of dollars of, investment and liquidity. And it like went to zero in like 3 or 4 days or something like that. And like people lost their life savings and stuff. And so I think really the big thing is to kind of like stick to the like more established coins that have been around for like more than 5 years. Like if something's been around for 5 years, it's going to last. I've also talked with a lot of different projects in person, and like the engineers and the heads of these companies and the networks and all these things. And like, I know which projects are going to be around and which ones it's hard to say, whether they just started or whatever. But, I think sometimes it's hard to know that, but I'd be careful. I mean, that's the thing is like there's scams left and right. So, I have a couple of videos actually on this that I can absolutely share about crypto scams and like a bunch of different kinds of crypto scams and things to look out for, things to remember. So, there's just a lot out there. And so, I think I would just start with like getting information from like a reputable source, a company that's like been around for more than 5 years. Like that's really the big thing. And then if there's any questions, like you can absolutely send them my way. I think
we have that in the description. So would you say like, hey, look at crypto backed or asset backed cryptocurrency necessarily, or no, because you can scam that as well? Or
yeah, I mean, if there's a project or something you want me to take a look at, or if like I've heard of it, typically like if I haven't heard of it, I wouldn't invest in it. I mean, it's not investment advice, but it's just like if I haven't heard of it and I've been around for the last year, like they either haven't like hit the mainstream or like I don't really know why, or it's a questionable kind of thing where it's like, well, maybe this thing is just like kind of was set up overnight or the last couple months or something. And the other thing is like people create coins all the time. Like I've created multiple coins, right? Anybody can create a coin, and that's the thing. But does the coin have utility? Does it have value? Is it solving business problems, or is it just a Dogecoin or Shiba coin? So those are the kinds of things that like I look for is like if I were to invest, and I'm not saying this is investment advice.
Right.
What I would look for is utility. Is it actually solving a business problem, or does it have some kind of utility or use case in the market today? If it doesn't, I would probably steer clear. That's just me.
I've got one I want you to look at after this. We'll talk.
Yeah. and that's like, I think it may be useful today, but like in 5 years, if it's not solving problems, I'm not sure if it's going to be around. That's just really the main thing.
Right.
Yeah.
What about during the last?
Go ahead, James.
I was gonna say, what about during the last year? You said you've gone to so many live events, in-person events. Who's the biggest star that you've ran into in that world? Have you ran into by chance, Gary Vaynerchuk, or have you run into him yet, or anybody? Or
I haven't run into him specifically. Like I saw Kevin O'Leary speak at the last conference in Miami. I saw Senator Cynthia Loomis, speak as well at that same conference. A lot of it was just really cool to like actually talk with a lot of these projects, not projects, but like networks and companies in person. Like I've interacted with all these different like blockchains and cryptocurrencies and all these different things online, but like until I like met them in person and saw how smart they are, and like them talking about like, this is where we are today, this is where we're going. And that's kind of where it came a little bit more real for me. Everything's kind of computer code from the outside in until you actually meet the people that are actually writing that code. Or representing those companies, that kind of thing.
That's a great question.
But as far as, Kevin O'Leary was great. Cynthia Loomis also. And then I also saw, what's her name? I think it's Kathleen Wood from ARK Investments. She's very heavily invested. I think she just bought like a whole bunch of Coinbase stock when it was like super low. I think it was like a month ago or so. She is probably one of the smartest investors in the space. I've talked with and met a lot of different people. And then some of the smartest people, I think, would be people that are out of the spotlight, that the people that are actually building these things. That's the
So let's do that. I want to get into your business and talk about what you're doing. But first, we're going to cut to commercial, and we're going to come back and we'll do that. So let's cut to commercial. Let's show some love to Donnell Johns over at VGA.
Nice.
With their they've got their pop-up shop grand opening July 4th weekend. You got to check them out.
Wow.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Feltz.
I knew it.
God. Before lunch, too. If you're just tuning in, we got Wesley Scholl of Konjo Tech, my fellow Bunker Labs brother from DC, and 22 Alpha Veteran in Residence program. We talked about his military career as a Marine, and how it just led to where he is now. And now we're about to unpack what is Konjo Tech and what does it mean? You have actually some meaning behind Konjo, right? What is that?
Yeah, I do. So it means a few things in different languages. So when I was in Ethiopia, my friends kept saying this word Konjo, or variations. So they would say like Anchi betam konjonesh, or they would say like Wuha kaskasa konjono, or like Ethiopia we konjono, or something like that'd be a variation of Konjo. Right. And I was like, I'd hear this a lot, and it's a popular word there. And it's actually a catch-all good word, right? So it means beautiful, it means gorgeous, it means delicious, it means wonderful. It's kind of this positive word, right? And one of my earlier companies, I was doing like kind of, I guess just like IT consulting. Like that's basically what it was. But I called it Konjo Tech, and that was the first use of it. But then a friend of mine, a Japanese friend of mine, was like, "Oh, Konjo, like that means this in Japanese." And so she taught me this phrase like "Konjo ga aru, sori to itsumo tatagate iru," which means like Konjo is like an ideal that I will hold on to for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So Konjo in Japanese, it means passion, it means perseverance, determination, grit. It literally translates to fighting spirit, which I kind of like because I have a fighting spirit from the Marines. So it's just, I don't know, it's like one of these words that has many different meanings. Up to today, somewhere like 33 across the world, actually.
Wow.
I've been doing a lot of research, and I'm actually writing a book about it.
Nice.
This is a side thing, but yeah, Konjo is it's very meaningful for me.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you've got the company. We got a question from Nick, but I want to talk about your company. Then we're going to pop Nick Felt's question up here. But so what's your blocking and tackling? What do you guys do at Konjo Tech?
Yeah, we're just kind of like a one-stop shop for people coming into the industry for the first time, or if they're looking to invest, or if they'd like to learn more, or if they have something already but they want to expand, or if they want advice on potential investments, or if they want to get into crypto mining, or like an artist. I just completed a project for an artist who wanted to do an NFT series. Okay. So a lot of different things, but at the same time, it's very similar technology. And I just want to make it as safe as possible. So like my main mission, and like early on in the industry, like last year, I did get scammed it was a good amount of money. And I'm glad I lost it, because it taught me it taught me what to look for, but then also it spurred me to get a certification as an auditor so that I can actually prevent that from happening, not only for me, but for all of my clients as well. And so my mission is to make sure that none of my clients get scammed. That's the main thing.
If I can, when we were in Bunker Labs, DC, I was helping people with their pitch, and we were on a call, and you shared a story from Afghanistan that really showed the power of crypto and how fast it can be.
Yeah.
Can you share that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, the two stories I like to share, the first one is getting scammed. And I think that is a real problem in the industry today. But the second one is how powerful it is in cross-border remittances. So I do have a friend. She's from Afghanistan, and the U.S., pulled all the forces out. And then I got a message from her and saying, hey, the Taliban took over. Like, I may need some help. And so she was in hiding for, I think, the better part of 6 months or something. And during those 6 months, a friend and I and a couple other people got together, and we were trying to get her out of the country, her and her mother and her sister out of the country. We tried everything from, sending money to a bank using Western Union or MoneyGram. We tried to get somebody with actual cash to take it on the airplane in like a duffel bag.
Yeah.
And then we also tried to hire an extraction team. We tried everything. And there were a couple months where it went by. I was like, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And so then one day, my friend Fatima, she's like, hey, there's this currency exchange place, and I think they take cryptocurrency. I'm like, well, go and find out right now, because if they do, we're going to make something happen.
Right.
And so she went, and they accept cryptocurrency. And it was crazy because in country, she could exchange up to $10,000 US in cash. So I was able to send enough to get her mother, and her sister out of the country. And I sent it like that. And she was able to get it that day, cash it out, and then start making arrangements to move. So she's in Iran right now, and she just renewed her. Well, I don't want to go into the details, but like we got her out, and I think, I knew the power of Bitcoin before, but until I had like a real story of how, it can cut through, like, I mean, pardon my French, but like the BS of the financial system, and like basically just like went right around it. And I sent it to her directly, and she was able to use it and cash out and everything. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say like what would have happened if not, because she had a target on her back. She was a women's rights organization. Like she had founded a women's rights organization. So like the Taliban, like, obviously does not like that kind of thing. And so, yeah, it's just, that was a really powerful story for me. And the fact that like, there was really no other person that could have done that. Except for me. I mean, that she knows, at least. And so I was just like, well, I got to do this, and so I did. And yeah, it's just, it's kind of crazy. Like the power of the technology. That's, yeah.
No, absolutely. Because it literally, I mean, I would say it saved their life. Absolutely. And you're able to do it so fast, while, traditional means, I mean, some people aren't even, can I Venmo you the money? What's Venmo? I mean, you were able to go through all these with crypto to Afghanistan. And when you first told us that, I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is like, platforms like Venmo and PayPal and even banks and stuff, like, this is all third party, right? So I've had transactions getting held up on PayPal and Venmo both. I've had my banks like question transactions or whatever, and it was completely legitimate. But like on Bitcoin, it's decentralized, and you are trusting computer code between you and the other party. So it's kind of like trustless. Like it's, there's no, I've never been able to wield that much power financially since I started using the technology. And since then, like, there's never been another time in human history where like the everyday person can be their own bank. Like that just doesn't happen. That hasn't happened until now. And it's
almost like, it's like an evolution. I don't know if you've read the book, the Spider and the Starfish, by Ori Bergman, I think it is. But it's talking about the decentralization and how when you do that, you're actually empowering people. Why did the Mayans die out with the Spanish, but the Apaches didn't? And it was their structure. Once they killed the Mayan king, Aztec king, sorry, they all died out. With the Apache, it was decentralized. So you kill one, okay, but you still have everyone else. That they translated at the time, it was Napster. If you guys remember Napster.
Yep.
It was all decentralized, and it was just sharing. Now, if you look, we've evolved like 2 generations. Now you got your own bank, and it's decentralized. So it's another evolution. So that it's fascinating. And I love that story. That's why I asked you to share that. So what about like entrepreneurs like James and I, or we'll take Donnell as an example. Donnell Johns, Veterans Grow in America. They got a pop-up shop, permanent facility now at a mall here in Virginia. Would they be a good candidate to start accepting Bitcoin or traditional cash? I mean, who's that ideal person that should be looking at this? Or crypto, sorry.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think at a minimum, like, I think everybody should have some kind of crypto wallet to be able to accept, because like, you never know, like there may be a customer where they want to accept Bitcoin, or say like they want to make a donation, right? And I've heard stories of like hospitals in Canada, because Bitcoin's like really big up in Canada, that customers or patients or whoever it was, like they wanted to donate to the hospital because a lot of it's like state run up there. I don't know the entire workings of the system, but they wanted to donate Bitcoin, like a lot of Bitcoin, like I don't know, $50,000-$60,000 worth or whatever, but the hospital couldn't accept it. It's like, okay, well, that's a use case where you just lost out on like 50 grand. Like that's a lot of money, you know, especially for a business. I'm not saying that's going to happen to every single business, but you know, this is just the direction that the financial sector is moving. So I think it's better to have at least some means to accept. You know, accepting like cryptocurrency that is volatile, like Bitcoin, there's a lot of risk in it, you know, because the price changes every single day. But if you accept a stable coin, I think that might be a lot more digestible for the average business person, because if you accept $100 in USDC or Tether or whatever the stable coin is, like you're gonna get $100. Like it's dollar in, dollar out, you know, minus a transaction fee, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you know, the value is not going to change, right? So I think it just depends on like what you're looking for, and then, you know, as far as to accept, and then, you know, I think also like the interest options are a lot better in the industry right now. So, you know, you can get anywhere from like 8 to 10% APY on stablecoin deposits, which is like, that's huge. I mean, we're talking, I don't even know what the rate is, but it's like 2 basis points, 5 basis points or something like that on an average like savings deposit account in the traditional financial world. So just, there's a lot of different options. So yeah, I would just say at least start with a crypto wallet. Like that's kind of the main thing. That's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. So, and I think Nick's got a good question here. How do you quantify stability in our current market? I'm not asking you to be an economist. I'm just kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah. I don't like to make predictions, but I think I don't think we've seen the bottom of this this downturn. And I actually think that, and I'm not just talking about, you know, the crypto and blockchain industry and all these different cryptocurrencies. I'm talking about the entire economy, because what the U.S. government did during the pandemic is they literally floated the economy, right, on magical money. I'll just say it wasn't backed by much, but a promise. I don't think we've actually seen the economic fallout from the pandemic yet. We're starting to. So, you know, I think maybe the real estate market may take a hit. I think a lot of different markets may take a hit. So I don't think we've seen the bottom, and I don't think cryptocurrency is immune to that. So I'm more focused on providing options for my clients so that they can still grow their accounts without too much volatility risk.
Right.
Fair enough. You had mentioned NFTs, and would you say that we're kind of not maximizing their potential right now? There's so much more we can do with it. I mean, unlock NFT. What is possible?
Sure. Yeah. NFTs are, I believe, being underutilized. And for anybody who doesn't know what an NFT is, an NFT stands for non-fungible token. And that sounds very technical, but basically what it means, it's a digital token that's completely unique and can't be copied. So think of it like the key to your, you know, if you had one single key to your house, it would be like that. Right. So NFTs right now are being utilized for media, right? You know, so for art, for music, for videos, that kind of thing. But really, the full technological potential hasn't been realized yet, and we're starting to see that just a little bit. But I just read an article about the Olympics. I believe in 2024, they're going to look at using NFT tickets, right? And so if you use NFTs as tickets, you actually can't duplicate them. So you completely eliminate fraud, right?
Wow.
That's one use case. It could be the key to your car or your house. you know, there's a lot of different things. It could be like you could lock up a title to a house or a car or a boat into an NFT. There's a lot of different use cases.
Right.
I'm not going to go into them all. I just think that they're like NFT,
So-
the technology just in general is, people know them as one thing, but actually they do a lot more.
Right.
Who do you think that's who do you think right now is taking advantage of that best, like by age group? Is there a certain age group that you think, or folks that are actually diving in and jumping in? I'm like a dinosaur, so you got to convince me a little bit harder. I got to be able to touch it, feel it, smell it type of person. Is there a certain type of person that's taking advantage of the situation now and actually jumping in and getting involved right now?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think the younger generation is very much involved in the NFT space. I would say in cryptocurrency space in general. But one thing that I did see, and I have seen a lot of these conferences, are these NFT art galleries, that you can actually go into in person and you can see the paintings. I've seen both where they have the physical, like, canvas paintings, but then there are other ones where they have the like an LCD screen. So it's displaying the NFT. And then people, collectors, buyers, they buy these things and then put them up in their houses as like a status type thing. Because some of these things are worth like a couple $100,000 or whatever it is. So I think with that, as far as like art, I'm not necessarily saying it's a good investment or not. Like, people pay all kinds of money for all kinds of things,
Right.
I'm not saying they're good investments or bad investments, but I think what I'm trying to say is, like, there are protocols and there are cryptocurrencies out there that can do a lot more, that if you were to, say, own a specific network token, that might be a good investment, because you're basically buying the base layer, which can create art and music and house keys and tickets and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're basically, you're kind of investing in the future of NFTs. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm not necessarily saying one platform is going to be the best, but there are quite a few of them out there.
Got it.
What's the crypto mining? What's all that about?
Sure, absolutely. And that's actually how I started into the industry. A friend of mine asked me to build a crypto mining rig. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can build computers all day. I've been doing that since I was a kid. So I did it. And I built a GPU rig, and then I bought a Bitcoin miner just for comparison, because I was curious, and I was very skeptical at first. I was like, I don't know what this is, and I'm just running computer equipment and with the promise of some kind of magical internet money. But I think like 10 days later, this money got deposited into a wallet that I had created, and then I was able to cash it out into dollars, and like I bought something with it. And like from there, I was like, okay, well, now there's like, this is value. Like, this is true.
Right.
This is like, it's not, the way that I thought of it was like, okay, well, I just kind of like converted euros or yen or, or RMB like back into dollars, right? Like, that's kind of how I viewed it. I was like, okay, this is really interesting. And I was like, well, this is kind of a business too, right? And so yeah, I've been mining since then. I have a small Bitcoin mining farm. I've mined all kinds of stuff over the last year as well. And I think it's actually a great like intro into the industry to like understand how it works. And basically what you're doing is at a basic level, you are trading computer processing power for cryptocurrency. That's it. And what that computer processing that power does is it does two things. It secures the network, and it validates the transactions and creates them both. But that was really, once I finally understood how that process worked, it really, the business bells and cogs started turning, and like, well, I could maybe scale this up and So I got a couple of investors, and I mean, it was a really interesting, and it's been a lot of fun doing it.
Right.
Because I ran server rooms, and like that's literally what you set up if you do crypto mining. So
yeah, the first time I saw this like in person was at the 21 Bravo graduation with Harrison, and they had it there. And he was talking to me about it. I'm like, wait a minute, you're making money? It's just sitting here, and you're making money right now? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, mind is blown. I'm a dinosaur. Why don't I know this? So if somebody wants to get started, James wants to get started in this. How does he get started? How does he meet with you and say how much is going to cost him, or how does this work?
Yeah, I mean, I can sit down, no problem, or just do like an introductory call, and then I have a couple different options. As far as the mining, everything from like if you want to spend as little as like $150, like to get started, just so that you can understand how it works.
In there. Right.
Exactly. And if you want to do a full-on rig, like, yeah, I can absolutely build that bad boy for you. And it just really depends. Actually, this is just my like, I think it's a great time to like start mining because prices are actually they're very low actually compared to when I first started. So as far as like $150 or $200 to like start out, like is I think a great little, test case, right? And just see like what happens. And I have a couple of clients that are doing something similar, where I'm basically managing the rigs, these crypto mining rigs, and, helping them get their feet in, I guess their feet in the door into this, like to see how it works and everything. So, but yeah, I've done everything from custom mining rigs to Bitcoin mining farms to, basically maximizing the amount that you can mine every day. And it's literally like a computer. Like there's one, you can't see it, but it's right here. Maybe I can actually take the camera over there in a little bit and show you guys. But, it's fascinating. I never thought I'd have a computer. I never dreamed I would have a computer that could actually print money, I guess is kind of the best way I can describe it.
It is amazing where we're at right now with the technology and stuff. But yeah, we're definitely talking because I'm interested. I want to look at that. What about with these new industries, these budding industries like crypto and cannabis? Is that a natural connection you're seeing or not so much? Have you seen a lot of that?
I've seen a little bit.
And the reason I bring it up is because cannabis guys starting out, it's hard for them to get money, investors, and through traditional means. So is there room for them in the the crypto world?
For sure. Yeah. So I think a couple things here. So I have seen a like cannabis coin, like there's some kind of cannabis linked coin. I'm not really sure what it was all about. I did see that a while ago. One other thing that I noticed is that there are investors that have made a lot of money in cannabis, and they're looking for investment opportunities. So they're actually going into crypto because of the, I know there's still a federal law where it's like, sometimes it's hard to get into an FDIC insured bank if you have cash that was created with cannabis. So they're investing a lot into that as well. So there's definitely a lot of crossover, but then also starting out as a cryptocurrency business, like a lot of traditional financial banks, if you're going for a loan or something like that, like it's really hard to like get your foot in the door and actually start out if you're going to go that route. And so I can definitely see a lot of similarities as far as like the business side, as far as like financing, that kind of thing, when you compare like say crypto mining or just the crypto business in general, when you compare it to like cannabis, there's definitely a lot of carryovers, two completely different industries, but yet, the laws and the legal structure right now, I think it's very similar in many regards.
Right.
As far as like risk.
Absolutely fascinating. Brother, I can't believe it's already been an hour. I think we can learn so much from you, and we're definitely going to have a discussion after this. But it is time for us to close out with our freedom means question. And so our sponsor today is Donnell Johns over at Veterans Growing America with his pop-up shop over in here in Virginia. It's the only 100% veteran owned and operated shop with numerous veteran entrepreneurs. And you can actually walk in and buy stuff. It's absolutely amazing. So go check them out. July 4th, if you're in the Northern Virginia area, just south of DC here in Woodbridge, Virginia. And then they're all over as well at AFI's locations around the country. So appreciate what he's doing. So Wesley, for you, our question is, brother, you have served, you've sacrificed, you've done so much. What does freedom mean to you?
So freedom, I was thinking about this question a little bit. Freedom means a lot of things. I think really the biggest thing is not being oppressed by your government. And having been stationed at various embassies and consulates around the world, I've actually seen like the fear that some people have against their governments. Like in Ethiopia, like citizens cannot speak out against their government. They'll get thrown in prison. Similarly in China, when I was stationed there. And so I think these are some of the things that I took for granted, living and having grown up here in America, is that, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, like, you can do your business how you would like, as long as you're within the means of the law. But then just in a more natural sense, I think freedom, it's the freedom to live your life pursuing happiness for you and your family.
Wow. Yeah, no, I appreciate that perspective, especially it's always different when and you see it most from the military, because we have lived in these places where it does really mean something different, especially if you've been in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Europe. You can see the gradient of freedom it goes up and down on that. So appreciate it. What can we do for you? How can our viewers support you? What's your ask? What do you need?
Yeah, if you're looking to get into the industry, or if you have a question, just please send me an email or head over to the website. I have a 30-minute, no pressure consultation. So I will even give you the first tidbit for free, just to make sure you don't get scammed. Because I think that's really the biggest problem in the industry today. There are a couple of different problems, but that's really the biggest one. So I just want people to start out right, and I'll get you set up, with a good foundation from the start.
I appreciate it, brother. It's been an amazing episode. We're going to put you in the green room. I definitely want to talk to you after this about some of the points we hit here. So, but thank you. Thanks for being our legend this week. And thanks for making my Bunker Labs experience so amazing, brother.
Thanks, Marty. Thanks, James.
All right. James, what do you think, man? I told you he was going to. I thought you were going to blow your mind, didn't he?
Well, I'm just sitting here just thinking of all the things that he can do. And he mentioned some key points, about, don't get scammed and the importance of that. And that's why I like Wesley, because he said, look, I got scammed. And like a lot of us out here, it's so important to find those right mentors and folks that are actually out here that have our best interest. And that Wesley's one of those guys. That's why I appreciate him sharing the story about him getting scammed too. So, it happens.
So next week we got another Bunker Labs brother from DC.
Is this another Washington Come on, man. Come on.
We got Agogi Life coming. We got Justin coming. He's going to explain what is the Agogi Life. No cheating. Don't go see 300 and watch.
Don't go Google Agogi until next week.
He's going to talk about his amazing hemp protein and what he's doing, and he's got a pretty cool story too. So and the biggest way you can help us is doesn't cost you anything, but go like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Lounge with Legends, cost you nothing, and you can help a veteran out, because our goal is, well, let James say, what's our mission, brother?
I was going to say to set up a mining thing with Wesley. That's what I was thinking our mission was.
That should be our new mission. We'll do that for our new nonprofit, but we'll talk after this with Wesley on that. So appreciate it. And everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legend show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.